Okay, so it's going live. Let's see. All right. Yes, we're live. I can see us and we're live. Okay. Okay. All right, just a moment. Let me check all systems and then I can. Just a moment. I think we're live. Okay. Yes. Yes, we are live. Okay. All right. Okay, so let's see if anybody has signed up. Just wait a minute or two, and then we would roll. Yes, we're live. I think we're live. Okay, there it is. Yes, we are. So we'll just wait a minute or two, and somebody signed on almost an hour ago. Okay, so I've got somebody. All right. Hi, Thomas, and thank you so much. Congratulations again for your PhD. We're grateful and we celebrate God on your behalf. So we'll just wait and see. Okay, we've got 9 people watching. Give it a few, maybe another minute or two. All right. Thanks, Yemi. Good. We can see you and we can hear you. Thank you so much. That's very encouraging. All right. So I'll give it another minute or two so that, when we do start, I don't want people to miss much of what we have to say for today. But anyway, we can at least start. Welcome to another edition of the Pastors Roundtable. It's my pleasure to have you here again. And those of you who have become fans, thank you so much. I can see Yemi Oyewole. I can see Sam. Hi, Sam. I can see David. Thank you. Thank you so much. As you know, the Pastors Roundtable is a forum for pastors to come together to have what I call life-giving conversations that edify the body and glorify the Lord. The Pastors Roundtable is a forum to help you deal with the issues of life. And this would be our 8th edition. Pastors Roundtable comes up every 3rd Wednesday of the month by 8 p.m. West African time, or maybe I should say Nigerian time, because I know that sometimes the timing is different between us and Ghana. My name is Noruwa Edokpolo, and I'm your host. And I always like to say that the views expressed in this program are those of the speakers, all right? And if you haven't done so already, please, 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 subscribe to my channel now. All right, subscribe to my channel, like this video, and share this link, because what we're going to be discussing tonight is really, really going to change the way a lot of things are happening. Thank you very much, Pastor Yinka, Pastor Kaj. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you for joining. Now, we're talking about artificial intelligence, AI. It's rapidly changing the world, and the church is no exception. AI can be used to automate tasks, personalize communication, provide insights that can help churches better understand and serve their members. In the reminder I sent out earlier on today, I reminded us of the printing press in the 15th century and what it did to the gospel, all right? I suspect that we are on the cusp of another, explosive growth of the gospel because of technology, all right? Interestingly, AI can help you to improve efficiency. It can, personalize communication, better decision-making, et cetera, et cetera. Of course, there are risks. There are privacy issues. It could be bias. There are issues of accountability, et cetera, et cetera. For your information, my little research says, as we speak, there's already a church in Kenya using AI to create a chatbot that can answer questions about the church and its ministries. There is a church in Nigeria using AI to analyze data about the community. This data is then used to identify the needs of the community and to develop programs tailored to those needs. In South Africa, a church is using AI to create personalized training programs for church leaders. These programs help leaders to develop their skills and knowledge and to stay up to date on the latest trends in ministry. So AI is already here, okay? Our guest to discuss this topic is Nelson Musonda. Did I get that right, Nelson? Sonda, okay. Yeah, Nelson is a devoted media designer and digital marketing specialist who is the creative force behind Dell Method. His mission is to help small businesses, non-profit organizations, churches, and ministries to grow their online presence and reach new audiences. All right, and thank you so much, Nelson. It's really a pleasure that here we are together. Maybe somewhere along the way, I would tell the story of how I got to meet you. And I've written about your, what you're doing with AI in ministry, and I'm really impressed, okay, what you've accomplished. I'm particularly interested in your work on using AI to create more engaging and effective worship experiences. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on the ethical considerations of using AI in ministry. So really, thank you so much for creating time to join us, this evening. So Nelson, in simple terms, please, what is AI?
Thank you. And thank you for the invite. The pleasure is mine. And thank you, everyone who's tuned in today. Can you hear me? Good.
And clear. Can you guys hear us? Can you hear us online? Can you confirm? Can you hear us online? Peter, Matami, Hysend, Ayokweju, Benga, Peter, Sunday. Can you guys hear us? Thanks, Doc. Dr. Obodo. Please confirm you can hear us loud and clear. I think they can, yes. I'm seeing the love signs go up. Go ahead, Nelson.
All right. So thank you once again. So what is AI? Please forgive me if I oversimplify it, but that's how I work. I want to make sure that we all understand what this thing is. So AI is simply, think of it as a brain, an artificial brain, okay, that you and I have contributed to. So if you've written a post online or you've written a book, you probably have contributed to the knowledge base that this AI has. Okay, so it's just a bunch of information that was scraped from the internet, as well as books, and then the engineers behind the OpenAI created this algorithm that is able to get information from this, large pool of information and piece it together. So the idea is to, pardon me, the idea was to create a machine that thinks like we do, okay? So when you ask AI to do a certain task, it goes into the database and it has studied all the patterns, the way we talk. And so, again, this is the information that we've given it, okay? So I know sometimes as churches, we take our time to adapt to new technologies and stuff like that. But remember, if you've written a book, you've written a blog, that is, especially for OpenAI, if it was before 2021, you've contributed. AI is using your information to
so we are all creators of AI, in a manner of speaking.
Yes. We are part of this,
ecosystem of information.
Yeah, so it's not from without, should I say.
So let me just shoot off. Should Christians use AI?
The simple answer is yes.
Why?
That's the simple answer. The question is, I guess the question is, when should we use AI? And when is it, or rather, when is it appropriate for us to use AI? And I'm gonna step back a little bit, okay? I want you to think about the gospel. The gospel has two main elements, right? you have the message, and then the distribution of the message. So whether it's in the physical church, you, as a pastor, you go and prepare a sermon, okay? And I'm not going to talk about the process of preparing a sermon yet, but you prepare a sermon, and then you come and deliver the sermon. So there are those two elements, all right? So when I'm talking about us deciding when to use it, is very important, because we need to know that AI is simply a machine, okay? It has no emotions. It has no
No
feelings.
feelings.
Yeah, none of that, all right? And so if we use it wrongly, we become mechanical, because if you think about Christianity, it's relational based. Christ came, he built relations with the people that he ministered to. Okay, he was a physical person. They touched him, they connected with him. So if we simply just use AI from point A to point Z, then we're gonna lose that touch. Okay, so it's very important to be clear on when to use AI. So now getting back to my earlier point, okay, you have two elements. The message, as a pastor, I like to think it's inspired, right? So inspiration only comes from the Holy Spirit, okay, and not AI. So the thing is that once you get that inspiration, okay, and you're ready to deliver it, and most of the pastors do have a physical church or a physical audience that where you present these sermons to, okay? And you can do that even without AI, okay? Because you are telling stories, you are connecting with people. But then when it comes to digital evangelism, things change a little bit. And I'm going to divert a little bit from the question so you understand really.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
So I want you to think about the church, the physical church, and the digital church, or the physical audience versus the digital audience, okay? When you're preaching at church, people come ready to listen to whatever sermon you have to preach, okay? Whether it connects with them or not, they are ready to listen. The church building itself, or wherever you are, has this level of reverence that people have, okay? So they'll listen. Now, turn around and go to the online space. Things begin to change, all right? Just this morning, I saw one of a friend posted a sermon that said, "Come out of the box." All right? Perfect sermon title for the physical church. But bring that sermon, "Come out of the box," into the online space. And I want you to ask yourself, how many people are searching for "come out of the box" as a search term? Okay? So now we begin to see the differences. All right? And so when you preach that sermon in church, you have to reconfigure that sermon into something that the online audience can find. All right? So again, now let's shift to the online audience. In the online audience space, you're going to have two types of audiences. You're going to have people that know about you, and so they're going to find your sermons regardless. Whether you name it "Come Out of the Box" or you name it Jonah, they're going to find it because they already know about you. But I think our goal as evangelists, or rather digital evangelists, is to expand.
Is to reach, yes. So the corners of the earth, take the gospel to the corners of the earth. Yes.
Yes. So you have to think about, how is someone going to find this sermon? The person that needs it, So that's when AI comes in. Okay. just a few years ago, when you preach the sermon, you put it on YouTube, and you want to turn it around for your online audience, you had to send it to someone to go word for word and transcribe it. Okay. And so, and just and going back to your question, should Christians use it? If you've used YouTube, you're posting on YouTube, you see that transcription, you're already using AI. Okay. So again, once you post that sermon, you can use AI now to change the formatting, to reshape it so that your online audience can find it. So basically
that's it. Okay, fine. By the way, if you are just joining us, this is the Pastors Roundtable. It's a forum where pastors come together to have life-giving conversations that edify the body and glorify the Lord. Tonight, our topic is AI and ministry, and our guest to discuss this is Nelson Musonda, all right? He's a devoted media designer and digital marketing specialist. Now, if you haven't done so already, can you please go ahead now and click the subscribe button on this particular channel, share, and like this video. We need that. You see, that's AI. All right, and that's the way it works, okay? So if you do this, then more people will get to hear about this, and then that way we take the gospel further and further. Now, you've begun to answer my next question. I was going to ask, how can AI be used to spread the gospel?
Great question. So again, we need to differentiate the two audiences, the physical audience and the online audience.
Okay.
So the online audience is driven by their problems. Okay. Someone would. How many times have you gone online to search for Noah or the sermon called this and this? Usually, people are driven by what they are going through. Maybe someone needs help. Maybe they have an addicted child. They need help for that. They'll go how to do ABCD as a Christian, or how to reach out to someone who's sick, how to do all that. So you have to reverse engineer that sermon.
The message.
Yes. So I'll give you an example. You have preached a sermon in church. Okay. Now you need to reach the masses online. So what you do is that you bring that sermon into AI. And when I say AI, let me talk about ChatGPT.
Okay.
So the first thing you need to know is that people are driven by their challenges. Right? And that's why I started the Dell method, because I realized that after COVID hit, churches were scrambling to go online. And when they did that, they discovered that it's a totally different space. Okay. Just merely posting a verse online or a sermon does not cut it. Okay. So I started looking at the things we're already doing in the digital space. And so it's like when you're a pastor, you're asked to preach, right? You decide what sermon feed the flock. So that's it's like a pyramid. So a Dell is an inverted triangle. I'm flipping that pyramid, okay? Because online it starts and ends with the audience. Okay, so instead of before you preach a sermon for your online audience, you have to see what are people struggling with. Okay, and then you give them that. All right, so that's where AI comes in. You take your sermon, put it in AI, and you can ask it things like, who is this sermon best for? Or who is it serving? Okay, the AI will analyze your text and say, oh, this sermon is best for this type of a person. Okay, so you write it down. All right.
Mm.
What problem is this sermon solving? AI can help you answer those questions as well. Okay.
Mm.
Then you can say, what are the 10 key takeaways from this sermon? AI will give you all that.
Mm.
All right. And then from there, because it's that information that you can now start posting, because you now have a target audience. Okay. You have a problem that you're solving, and you have a solution in there. So if someone is looking for a solution to the problem you're already solving, guess what? When they type in that search term, yeah, they're able to find you online. Okay. And again, if you already have an
Nelson,
audience,
Nelson, sorry. I'm sure this is not only me. Can you just play back this answer? All right. So you've taken my sermon, you've put it into ChatGPT. So give me the prompts again, if you don't mind. Just repeat again, because I'm sure that there are people who would want to listen and hear that again. Yeah.
Okay. So the goal there is to turn that sermon into something that people that are not in your circle can find. Okay. So knowing how people find things online is very important. So people come with a problem. Okay. They have this problem and they're looking for a solution. So knowing that is very important. So when you bring your sermon into ChatGPT, what you're going to do is to extract that information from your sermon. You know, because like I said, the wrong position to apply ChatGPT is at the beginning. Okay, so get inspired, prepare your sermon as you do, but let's change the distribution so that people now can find it. If you look at also, it's very important to understand how the internet works. And I'd like to think of it as a mailman, okay? Someone who takes your mail somewhere. When you're writing mail, you do not put an address there. What happens?
It doesn't go anywhere.
It doesn't go anywhere. So most of us, that's what we're doing as pastors. We have a sermon, good sermon. We do not have a specific person
Target.
address it to. It goes in the mailbag and sits there. Okay. Now, people that know about you, they know where to find it. They'll go dig and find it, right? People that don't know, there's no way they're going to find it. So you find that you are creating content, you're posting online, but no one sees your content. Okay. It's not addressing someone. It's not even solving a problem that they are looking for. So find it. So that's why we can use AI in this space to help us understand who this sermon is for, what problem it's solving, you know, the key takeaways, and so on and so forth.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Now, I know we've spoken around this, but maybe I should pause here. I'd like to ask my listeners on YouTube. Do you have a question for Nelson? I have quite a few, but I just wanted to pause to get you into the conversation. John says, is it a combination of psychology and inspiration of the Holy Spirit in respect of the delivery of messages? He says, is it a combination of psychology and inspiration of the Holy Spirit in respect of delivery of messages? Do you understand that question, Nelson?
I'm not too sure I understand. Could you clarify? Because I want to make sure that I
Yes. John, I think that's Professor John. If you don't mind, Prof, can you please reward that comment or question so we know how to address it? BC says, thank you, Nelson, for your response. You actually spoke my mind in the use of AI as a believer. It is very important to know when and how to use it. It should not in any sense replace the inspiration of the Holy Spirit. Agree?
Amen.
Agree. Yes, I agree with you, BC. Okay, so let's wait for Prof to come back to us. So, Nelson, I'd like to ask, do you, from what you've done and what you know, do we have a compatibility problem? Is AI compatible with our Christian beliefs, do you think?
So if you think about it, digital evangelism did not exist up until after COVID. Okay, we had televangelism, which existed, but the things that you and I do did not exist. So most of the information they have is what existed before. Okay, so we are at the very, very beginning of this transformation. All right, so we are using techniques that have been used in other areas. Even look at the tools we are using, we have to adapt them to the way we do ministry, because the church does not invest in tools like this. Okay, so there's some biases, because again, AI is working from the information that was there already. Okay, so yes, and that's why you should not be at the beginning. Okay, so you have to train the AI, give it the information that you have, okay, and just let it just help you restructure that information, instead of just, there are people that are saying, that are doing, they go to AI and say, write me a sermon about Peter. See what I'm saying? So that's a wrong way of using AI. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so are there any ethical concerns with using AI in a Christian context? And if yes, what are they, and how do we deal with them?
They are there. And the largest one, again, is knowing that AI has no soul. It has no soul. And just when to use it. Don't have AI generate everything for you and you just give it to your audience. There's a church in somewhere in Europe that use AI for everything. They tried that, from the songs, the sermon, everything was done by AI. It can do it, but it should not be. You're gonna lose your audience if you do it that way. So I think that's the largest consideration, or ethical consideration. The main idea is that you can use it for research. AI can quickly give you, maybe you're looking for a verse or a number of verses that talk about something similar. You can ask AI to find those for you. You can use it for research, that's fine. But, it should be used sparingly, because it's also learning. So everything that we're giving it now, it's learning from that as well. So it's not at a point where you can, do 100% AI content. It's not at that point yet, at least for the Christian audiences.
Somebody says, can we use robots in a large congregation church, say a church of millions of people? Why not? It depends on what the robot is doing, though.
Yes.
I mean, if the robot is to help people to sit very well, collect their offerings, why not? But I mean, if the robot were to take the place of the pastor, then there might be an issue. Okay, so Prof is back. It says, does it involve the use of psychology in reaching the audience? Does AI involve the use of psychology in reaching the audience?
Oh, okay. Excuse me.
Yeah.
So let me start with an example. If you use social media, Instagram or whatever, a few months ago, I was trying to restructure my office, and I went to Instagram to find some ideas, right?
Mhm.
So Instagram, because I was searching, the algorithm thinks, oh, this guy is interested in desk or office ideas. So
Mhm.
every time I go to Instagram, guess what? Instagram gives me more of that. When I go to Facebook, those are the ads I'm seeing. I go to Google, I see ads based on that. Okay, so that's the psychology part, because these tech companies realize that when someone is in that mode, okay, they want to consume more of that information, and so we have to give it to them. And so the algorithm also analyzes so much data. Let's say I'm looking for I go online, I start searching for pants, right? Trousers. All right. If maybe 50% of people in my age group were looking for those pants, and they later on bought a certain type of shoes, guess what? The algorithm will suggest that type of shoe, because that's the information it has. So everything is about psychology, okay, and personalization. You know, they think of the things that you like to consume, and they give you more of that. So that's the psychology part, okay, and AI can use that. So, but how can we maximize on the technology? So if you read my blogs, I always talk about identifying your audience first. All right. I use the fisherman method. You know, when Christ approached Peter and his brothers, he says, follow me and I will make you fishers of men. So fishermen are very strategic people. Okay. They just don't go fishing. So the first thing you have to decide is, what type of fish am I going to fish, right? That determines everything else that comes after. What type of fish? Where is it found? What does it eat? What type of equipment do I need? All right. That's the essence of evangelism. Okay. Knowing exactly who you want to reach. Because, like I said, if you just put your information out there, it goes in this bag, the mailman bag, and never comes out. All right. So with AI, you can really hone into that audience. Okay. You check your sermon and you say, who is this sermon for? All right. It will give you that information. And then you go deeper into that. Who this person, what are they struggling with? Where are they looking for information? And so on and so forth. So by the time you're done, you have this, what we call a persona, an accurate representation of the person you want to reach. So again, that's psychology. Okay. So you cannot separate them. If you look at the ministry of Christ as well, when he preached to the woman at the well, guess what? He knew everything about her. All right. And again, we're using AI to learn so much about this person we want to reach. Okay. The more you know about this person, the better you're able to serve them, because you know their their challenges, you know their pain points, you know what they are looking for, basically, so that you can reach them. So that's why we use AI, because it helps us in that process. Otherwise, you're going to have to be calling people or talking to people, which is fine if you have a physical place. But online, because you can't, you know, excuse me.
Sorry.
Yeah, I answered that question.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So if you're just joining us, this is the Pastors Roundtable. My name is Noruwa Edokpolo, and we meet here every third Wednesday of the month, 8 p.m. Take note of that. And we have interesting conversations that edify the body and glorify the Lord. Tonight, we're talking about artificial intelligence and ministry. And our guest is Nelson Musonda. Now, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to my channel. I want to believe that everybody here has subscribed already, because the needle hasn't moved since you guys joined. So if you haven't done already, please subscribe to my channel and like the channel and share this video. AI needs this so that more people will see what we are doing and they can be blessed. All right. And if you're a pastor, if you check the chat, I have pinned a particular chat right there. It is the link to the newsletter. The Pastors Roundtable, we now have a newsletter where we send out, useful information to pastors, and so far we are building up that newsletter. So if you'd like to receive information from us, please sign up in the newsletter. If you are not a pastor, it's okay. If you're interested in pastoral things, I'm fine. I'm not going to ask you to leave the room. But, my target is the pastors. But whoever else is interested, please go ahead and sign up. Just click the link. I pinned the chat right at the head there. So Nelson, can artificial intelligence help us to gain a better understanding and interpretation of the Bible, do you think?
Yes. And again, because AI is objective, okay? Because it's not, AI is not Catholic, Pentecostal. It's just a bunch of information. So there are times that you really want to dig into connecting those dots. You can use AI. Like I said, you can use AI in the research phase of your sermon.
Sermon preparation. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Because
all right.
I said they scrape the books. Most of the books you've read before, they have that in the AI. Yes.
All right. Thank you. Somebody says, are there additional ways of driving traffic to your sermon? Yes, there are. But let me allow you maybe a tip or two.
Yes. So the sermon, you have to, that's why I said, digital evangelism is so different. It's like the opposite of the
traditional evangelism.
Yes. So you have to start with the end in mind. Think of the person you're trying to reach. Again, if you do not specify who that person is, your whatever you put up online will not be found. If you think about it, every one of us, an average person, is subjected to hundreds of thousands of pieces of content every day. Every single day we wake up and we are scrolling. Okay. You have to ask yourself, what makes you stop when you're scrolling? Okay. What makes you stop? And I want you to translate that into someone else. So if you're just posting verses, you have to think about how many people are going to actually stop. Okay. And then you have to think of it as different medias of distribution. When you talk about, maybe the question I need to ask is, where are you posting your sermons? Okay. You have to think about it. Facebook, let's say Facebook or social media. I'm not very active on social media because I would spread myself thin. Social media's content has a very, very short lifespan. Okay. If you want to make an impact, you have to bomb people's feeds. Okay. Because once I miss it, I didn't check it, it's gone. All right. Unless there's a lot of interaction, people are posting, then I'll see, oh, okay, there's this. But the lifespan is very, very short. That's why I do blogs, because those are easily found. So and to answer your question, ways to bring more people to your content, I would go with a blog or YouTube videos. because they are search engine optimized. And that simply means that you've identified your audience, the problem you're solving, so that when people are searching, they're able to find you.
Thank you very much. Let me ask, what do you mean by self-aware AI? What does that mean?
Self-aware?
Yes, self-aware AI.
So, I mean, those are just terms that we throw around. It hasn't reached that level where it's aware of itself. Those are some things that people are scared of. AI will control the world and stuff like that. But like I said, it gets the information that we feed it. So
okay. All right.
So,
okay, so ChatGPT is owned by certain people.
yeah.
Google Bard is owned by certain people.
Yes.
Now, I'm asking, is it necessary to have a ChatGPT-like thing that is owned or created by Christians? Is it necessary, do you think?
I don't think it's necessary, because you see, we are Christians, but we are part of the world.
Okay.
When you look at ads, they target Christians and non-Christians because we consume the same things. We go to the market, we watch television, we do everything. And so in order for you to be effective as an evangelist using technology, you have to keep all that in mind. Otherwise, you separate yourself from, the people you're trying to reach. So being able to have an extended pool of information is actually an advantage to the Christians, because then we're able to understand the world out there better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Somebody says here, kindly explain how we can use AI in gospel tract writing for online evangelism.
So you say gospel tracts are those little pamphlets that you give out? That's the tracts.
Yes.
Okay. So I don't know about you, but most of the tracts I've gotten have ended up in the trash. That's just simply the norm. Okay. And if you look at some polls, people that get tracts, you give them, then they put it on the counter or whatever it is. Next time they clean up, it's gone. All right. And again, it's because we're giving people what we think they should consume. All right. When I was starting the Dell method, what I did was I went into a lot of forums to talk to people, actually, to see where this fits in. And I found a woman who said she had been a church member for this church for 40 years. Okay. And during that time, she's been suffering from depression. Never did she hear a sermon or a program that addressed depression. And yet she was a member of this church. So guess what? During COVID, she couldn't go to church. So she started looking and stuff like that. She found a Facebook group that was talking about, these are Christian groups, but they are talking about depression, how they, Soon she found a community of people that understood her. And she felt at home. She says, there's no need for me to go to church. So as church leaders or as evangelists, we must be aware that we are at people's service. Okay? we must know what people are really, really struggling with. Only then can we serve them.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
So
Mm.
again, I didn't mean to digress, but such stories will inform you that there is much, much more that we can do. So in terms of tracks, again, because it's a physical space, you still need to have that audience in mind. Are you trying to solve people with struggling with addiction or financial? Sometimes as Christians, we run away from financial issues and stuff like that, but they are one in, you know, So find that problem you're trying to solve so that when let's say where I live, there's a few problems of, depression and drugs and stuff like that. Okay. So I need to know the people around. Anyone I talk to knows someone who's maybe addicted or, going through drugs. So instead of me just creating a track that talks about Jesus Christ soon coming, maybe I need to channel that into addiction. All right.
Mm.
So when I find someone who either knows someone who's addicted or going through addiction, that track will make sense. I hope that makes sense. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So again, AI will help you because first find out who you're trying to reach and then step back and create that content that would really, really help them.
Thank you. Thank you, Nelson. By the way, let me announce here that myself and Nelson are working on a training program just to help, us to have a bit more of hands-on in how we can use AI for evangelism, all right, and for ministry generally. So we are working on that. And once we tidy up the details, we would, share the information with you, okay? Again, this is the Pastors Roundtable. It holds every third Wednesday of the month, 8 p.m. Nigerian time. My name is Noruwa Edokpolo. And tonight we are talking about artificial intelligence and ministry. And our guest is Nelson Musonda. Nelson is somebody that God has helped in this area, and he wants to share that knowledge, with the church worldwide. Nelson is based in California. Am I right? California? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're having this conversation and he's in California and I'm somewhere here in Nigeria. And I mean, that's just how technology has breached the gap. All right. So thank you so much. Now, so I want to ask again, how can Christians ensure the responsible use of AI?
The simple answer is it's basically up to us.
Mm.
And like I said, we are in the beginning phase of this thing. We don't know where it's gonna go. And so and as pastors, I think it's even important for you guys to start meeting and say, we have this thing. How can we ensure that even the people that are working for us use it responsibly?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's easy to just sit. I mean, not to talk down, but I've met pastors who just buy a sermon from Sermon Central and preach it just like that. So there is that. It's easy to just sit back and say the AI would do everything because it can.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The idea here is to always strive to connect with that person that really, really needs to hear the sermon. And so so what I was talking about is repurposing your sermon, the sermon that you preached. So now that we know that in the end we have to repurpose the sermon, maybe that will change the way we prepare the sermons. Okay. Again, I don't know what process you go through when preparing a sermon. All I know is that on average, people spend 10 to 15 hours preparing a sermon. And most of that time, is figuring out what to preach about, right? So now knowing that you need to have a person in mind first is important, because that will reduce the time you take to prepare a sermon. Because you can say, oh, you know what? Even in your congregation, if someone is really, really going through something, I talked about a lady who's going through depression, you have a sermon about depression. And guess what? You have that person in mind, so that when you preach that sermon, even if it touches one person in deeply, I think you would have done a good service. So again, knowing the end result will help you as you're preparing a sermon now. Make sure that you have an audience, the problem you're trying to solve. I think that will help in the long run.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. There's one question that was on my mind a moment ago. I am hoping it will. Good. Now, there's something about prompts. AI is almost as useful to you as the questions that you are able to ask it. Yes? Is there a way that we can learn how to ask or how to give better prompts to AI?
Yes, so this is what I do. There's so many concepts out there. The one that I found to be useful to me is to train the AI, okay? For everything I do, I go in and tell it, this is what I'm trying to do, okay? You say, I'm trying to create, or I'm trying to write a blog about ABCD, okay? My main target is this type of person, okay? And you can even give it concept. I talk to a person who's going through ABCD. They say, you give it that concept first, even before you ask to start writing. So once it gets that concept, then you start asking questions. So it really depends on what I'm trying to do. But don't just go there and say, here, give me this information. Then it has no guide.
Yeah. So you need to train the AI before it can be really useful to you. Yeah?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Nelson. We're beginning to wind down now. All right. If you have any question, please go ahead and ask. And as you're doing that, if you have not subscribed to my channel, I would really love you to do so now. Just click on the subscribe button. It's on the right-hand side where you have the Zoom, the Zoom logo. There's a subscribe button right next to it. Please click on that subscribe button. I really would appreciate that. Tonight, we need to train AI to take a word in season to the corners of the earth, all right? And you can help me make that happen. It's been a wonderful time. I've learned so much, and there's still so much more to learn. And like I said, I will be coming back to you shortly with details. Myself and Nelson are working on a training program to help people to, understand AI better and know how you can use it, particularly for evangelism and ministry. All right. Thank you so much, Nelson. Do we have a question here? Channel your evangelism rightly. Okay. I want to thank everybody who has joined us. Doris, Adekpeju, Apostle Mike, Israel. If I missed out your name, please forgive me. I'm just scrolling. Dayo Akinola. Dayo says, as a member of a fellowship and visitation in the church, can we use API design in such a way as to convert first-timers to full members?
Yeah, that's a good question. Actually, I was looking at
that.
Thank you, Dayo.
Okay.
So I actually wrote a series of blogs that talks about it's like an onboarding series of taking a first-time visitor from visitor to member. Okay.
Okay.
And during my research, I discovered that most of us as a church, we make a mistake to think that everyone comes to church for the same reason as we do. Okay. And so without considering that everyone is at different levels of their Christian journey. Okay. We talk about babies. You give certain type of food for every stage of the growth, growth period. So in my guide, I talk about how you onboard that person. Okay. Like in my church, when someone comes as a visitor, they write their name in, we welcome them, stand up, they say, hi, you are welcome. That's it. After church, you go greet them. If they're lucky, they get someone to greet them and stuff like that. And then they go their way. Okay. And then we say, come back next week, right? We are missing a big picture here. All right. So know that people come to church, and your church in particular, for a particular reason. All right. Some of them it's because it's the closest to where they live. Others because it meets their needs. When I was a young man, I discovered an African church over here. So I went there because working in America, we work so much. And so African church created that, gave me that platform. So I'm saying we laughed in my language. Some Nigerians, we had fufu, we had puff puff. And so it was fulfilling that thing that was missing in me, apart from the worship, of course, meeting with my fellow people that look like me, sound like me. It was just amazing. But when I grew up, I'm now married with kids. Guess what? I start looking for the church that meets my kids' needs. Okay. So that church doesn't. So I moved to a church that does. So we need to know that people come to different churches because it fulfills, or they are looking for a certain need to be filled. All right. So when a visitor comes, it's important to find out what that is. Okay. What has brought you to this church? All right. And then you engage them into that conversation. Okay. Once you discover the things that has brought them, you are able to now cater to them. Okay, create programs or whatever it is, or even identify a church member that can really, really help them, onboard them into the next stage. All right. So AI also comes in. If you're talking about using AI to take a person from one position to another, it's important. Use email, use posts and stuff like that. You can tailor that information. One of the another blog that I wrote is about personalization, knowing who you're trying to serve and personalizing that information. A long time ago, it would take you hours to create a personal message for a visitor, but now it doesn't. It will take you, a few minutes, as long as you understand what they're coming to do at your church, what they are looking to meet. You can use AI to meet that need and help them into the next stage of their Christian journey.
Thank you so much, Nelson. And thank you so much, everyone that has been part of this very, very enlightening conversation. It has been another edition of the Pastors Roundtable, which holds every third Wednesday of the month by 8 p.m. And we try to have conversations that edify the body and glorify the Lord. Next month, we were supposed to do this month, but the AI thing, got the better of me. Next month, my dear friend, Dr. Adil Yoyewole will be with us, and we'll be talking about depression. All right. That will be on Wednesday, the 20th of September. So let's make it a date. And like I said, we are planning a training program to help us to understand AI and how we can use it for evangelism. Myself and Nelson will be anchoring that training program, and we will come back to you shortly with information and details. Thank you so much. Nelson, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. I hope that sooner than later we'll get to meet and maybe, grab a bite together somewhere, either in Lagos or in California. Thank you. And thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today. Please, before you sign off, make sure you subscribe to my channel at @awordinseason_. God bless you. I have some very interesting conversations that I think would be of use to you. Believe me, if you go out there, you will be blessed. Thank you so much. Anayo Okpara, Ola Ekundayo, Shegun Idonije. Thank you so much. Zico, thank you. Matami, thank you. Matthew, thank you. If I've missed out your name, you know I love you. All right. Thank you. All right, everybody. Good night and God bless you.